It is a triple header weekend as Trucks, Xfinity, and the Cup Series all head to Nashville. We get you ready from a betting perspective next on the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching there. Make sure you like and subscribe. That helps our friends over at In Between Media out. If you're watching on X, make sure you like, retweet, do the whole 9 yards because it helps us and your followers get more people involved in what we're doing here tonight. You got Phil over here. You got Greg Mathern. You got Skybox NASCAR. We're all wearing interesting hats. Topic of conversation pre-show was hats. Mark probably got up about 5-6 times. So it's good to see him finally settled. Phil and I both got a little coffee. Greg's got a little something extra tonight. So that's good. Let's get into the panel. Let's dive right in because I'm really excited to talk about Nashville and hear what you guys have to say. So, Phil, I know you dropped your show here today. And how are you doing? How did everything go with you at New Hampshire?
It was pretty wild at New Hampshire. I was down a couple units as the rain came. I was fine with it, whatever. It is what it is. Can't predict that kind of thing. And then when they got it back, just completely changed the whole day around. We were way up at the end of the night. It was wild that happened. I really was in disbelief. And I think I saw a lot of other people have a similar outcome. So I'm happy that is the case. But, yeah, we're getting ready for Nashville, hopefully turning into Cashville. And happy to be talking with you guys, chopping it up tonight.
I saw that was the title of your show this week, Cashville. So I like that. Hopefully that is a good omen for this weekend. And Skybox NASCAR, Mark Harris, going to throw it over to you next. And I already like here what I'm seeing through the comments. Kyle says, is that the Chase Briscoe hat already? So we joked about that pre-show. How are you doing?
Fellas. It's a Stuart Haas driver, but it's the king. I don't know if you can see it with my headphones. Josh Berry. All right. No, yeah, sure. I'm on the cutting edge. Don't worry about me. Yeah, good. So New Hampshire. So I had one large wager, and that was Kyle Larson, top 5. And the rain came, and he was 7th. And I said, you know what? That's it. We're taking a nap. We'll wake up to either very big misfortune, or we're going back racing. And I literally woke up 6 wide into 1. I mean, I literally woke up going, what the fuck is going on? So I was fired up. I was instantly awake, ready to go. Kyle Larson, thank you. I love you. You are the man. Top 5 cashed it. Biggest bet of the week. That would be 3-0 generational bets. Triple your net worth bets coming next. Don't miss out. Join the Discord. Come on. Who do I sound like? Yeah.
I like
fired
it.
Up, dude.
Listen, I need to give you your flowers as well because on the show last week, and I even designated a whole segment to it on the YouTube side so anybody could just watch that portion of the Kyle Busch versus Bubba Wallace discussion where Bubba Wallace finished 34th, Kyle Busch finished 35th. And I have to say you were correct the whole time. I don't even know if Kyle ever passed Bubba or even passed
it was 15 spots, dude. It was 15 spots. Easy.
Never in doubt.
Never in doubt. So I got to give you your flowers on that. That was a great call out by you. Good
roses, please.
That you shared. Roses. I'll make them all red. So I am sending you, by the way, you are getting at least 1 case of the corn cans. You do realize that, right? I found out.
Text you my address.
Well, I already have your address, but I found out that I don't have your new one, but I found out that FedEx allows shipping of beer. So I'm going to make sure I take them up to FedEx and have them shipped out to you as my personal gift that you can enjoy. And maybe next month, about this time, maybe we'll crack one together. So that would be a lot of fun doing that. So throwing it over now to Greg Mathern, Greg of wintherace.info, filling in for Ryan this week, which is good. Ryan, hope you're having fun or had fun and having a good trip with the family. I'm sure the car right now that you're listening to, Ryan, is full of a lot of joyful noises, no tears, no crying. So Greg, how are you doing? It's been a while since we chatted last time.
Yeah, we're doing good. We kind of went the other way than most at New Hampshire.
Yep.
We had some money on our friend in the 34, and he went the wrong way. He went the wrong way and killed us. But we made it back in our DFS and our cash. So we did all right. It was a little bit man, that was wild.
It was.
It wild was. For sure. But yeah, we're excited. We got some thoughts and happy to be along. And Ryan, keep enjoying the kids.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to have you on here this week. I think we're going to have a lot of good discussions. And before we get into the ride or the rapid fire segment, I want to point out the hat I'm wearing. It's from Custom Patch Hats. They did front stretch upright. So we're going to, anytime anybody's going to be at any of the races this year, you'll see all the front stretch reporters wearing this hat and a decked out polo as well. So we'll be uniformed in that way. They also sent me a camo hat. So this will be worn probably not only this weekend, but definitely in Daytona when I see you down there in August, Mark. So looking forward and really appreciate what Custom Patch Hats is doing. If you guys have any information on them, please let me know. I'll get that right to you. So let's dive into the rapid fire segment. And I think this is going to be a fun one here tonight where we're talking about a few things. And, one of these questions you knew was going to come, Phil, and it is a matchup, but it's a matchup you never heard of before. Better finish on Sunday, Justin Haley, we got to give him his flowers, or Josh Berry?
Oh, wow. That is a good question. Is this on a book somewhere?
What kind of question is
No,
this?
it's not on a book. It's just, it's one that came to my mind.
Okay. Cause I'd be taking Josh Berry. I think, what we saw the other day is great. I think it's great what Justin Haley has been able to do, but I think I did actually a little bit of research on Josh Berry for another head-to-head matchup, and like what I saw. Okay. So I don't think I don't think Justin Haley would have that in him to beat. He needs some active God. But hey, I'm glad that he called his name out because what a show he was putting on. It was a shame he didn't get kind of the finish he deserved. And it makes you think, like, silly season and everything. Like, I don't know what his contract situation is like, but you have to imagine if you're a bigger name team, you're looking at that like, damn, that guy's doing a lot with a little. So, good. I'll go with the 4 car though.
So you go with the 4 car, but I do think it's a little closer than what people might think. I understand the name. You hear Justin Haley, think no way, but look what he's done since Darlington and the finishes he's been able to rack up. And he's not just backing his way into a top 5. He's legitimately getting positions where, he's finishing there inside the top 10. So it's a lot of fun to see kind of what's happening on that end. So Mark, I'm going to throw the next question over to you. And I'm really curious what your opinion is on the favorite thing that you're looking forward to this weekend. It could be in any series, but what's kind of your favorite thing? What are you eyeing the most?
I'm looking forward to everyone bitching on Twitter that Nashville doesn't allow coolers in because Nashville, we have a problem. That's an issue. It's going to be 105 degrees. But that's what I'm most looking forward to this weekend, the heat. I know it's been hot in Nashville in previous years. We all know that heat produces better racing most of the time. So I'm looking forward to the heat. Concrete, it's a new-ish track. It's somewhat exciting. Xfinity puts on a good race. So, I'm looking forward to the racing, I guess. I don't know what else to tell you other than heat equals good.
Yeah. Heat equals good. I like that. Greg, next question over to you. And I was curious, what is the most intriguing stat you came across this week? You're more of a statistician. So what have you found?
Well, we could start with this. This is not necessarily the stat that you might be looking for, but when books opened on Monday, we had 9 guys who were 10-1 or shorter.
Mm-hmm.
And the implied probability of those 9 guys was 100%. So according to the book, there was absolutely no value in betting anybody past past the top 9 guys. Which
Interesting.
gives you a little bit of a state of where the betting markets are these
Yep.
days.
Okay, interesting. Well, I'm glad that I asked you that. Phil, a question for you. Do we see a first-time winner in 2024 this weekend in the Cup race?
Trying to think in my head who I'm gonna go no.
Okay.
I got some guys in my mind that I think would be winning the race. I mean, it would have to be what Chastain doesn't have a win yet. I know
Nope.
people are gonna be talking about him this week. Truex would have to kind of
Right.
shock some folks, and then you got guys kind of shooting from beyond the 10-1 number.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go no. Based on the fact that I think the big dogs are going to eat here a little bit. And I don't think Chastain track history is going to be in his favor, but we'll see.
Okay. So you don't think we see a first-time winner in 2024. Mark, next question for you. This is a tough one, probably the toughest one anybody's going to get. Corn cans, Hawk Tua, or generational plays. One of those has to go. Which one is leaving?
Oh, fuck. It's like fuck, marry, kill, but one.
Yeah,
oh,
it
no, dude.
You got to pick one.
So
one's
it's
out?
money, beer, or women?
Yeah,
I mean, it's impossible, dude. I mean, what do you...
pretty much. Well, I'm asking you
Dude.
for a reason.
Oh, God. I'm going to get shamed no matter what I say, Derek.
You're kind of in a lose-lose, so where are you at?
I'm going to lose, Derek. If I get the girl out, I'm gay. If I
This is rapid
throw the
fire.
beer out, I'm a total fraud. And if I throw generational bets
Yep.
out that are 3-0, we're a poor, lying piece of shit.
Mm-hmm. So which one
You
is
know
it?
what? I give it up all. I'm abstinent. I give them all up.
No.
No,
Can I
gone.
Can I
Every
can I
single
help
one
you,
of them.
Mark?
Gone.
Can I help you, Mark?
Go ahead,
Phone a
Phil.
friend. Phone a friend.
You phone a friend. You haven't even had access to the corn can, so what do you care, right? You haven't had access to them yet,
Great
so
point.
they're
The
easy to throw
issue
out.
is I will be drinking corn cans. I'm driving to Orlando. I'm stopping in
Okay.
Daytona. I know they have them in Daytona.
Oh,
I'm
so
also
I mean,
getting
it's-
them mailed to me. So,
All right, fair enough.
all right, what does
All
Ryan
right.
say? You can't have women and beer without money.
Okay, so then
So
there
I
you
have
go.
to have money.
So then which one's out? Quick.
All three of them, dude. I
Ah,
don't have an
that was the
answer.
worst.
I can't
You're
give
the
up.
worst. You're the worst. All right, Greg, next question then for you. Trackhouse is blank this weekend in Nashville. This is like a hometown race for him. So that's why I'm kind of curious. Defending race winner, Chastain. So Trackhouse is
I
what?
mean, underperforming.
Okay, so this weekend they underperform in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, as we said, track history's on Chastain's side, but
right.
the speed just is not there right now for that team. Like if I look out, like I've got him ranked down at like 9. So I
Mhm.
mean,
Mhm.
could he do something? Sure. And certainly it's not Suarez. I mean, Suarez, this is not a track for him. So
No.
yeah, they're going to underperform. I mean, at least
Okay.
relative to the expectations of the book. I think a lot of us are talking about where they are, but they'll underperform relative to the book's expectations.
Besides Kansas, whenever the race obviously went a little bit later and right when they were going to that nighttime kind of conditions where we saw Chastain really start to show some speed, more so out front as well. When was the last time we saw Chastain carry any type of speed where it was, this could be a race winning car? And I just can't think of that off the top of my head. Anything, Phil, Mark? Yeah.
I'm going to talk about Ross Chastain in a negative manner, so
Good.
I'm going to hold my
Oh.
comments.
Okay. Well, then I'll look for that comment. It's a good tease. Thank you, Mark, at least for that. Phil, question for you. I know we don't have a lot of odds in the truck series, if any at all. And I might do like a 30-minute just kind of rip truck series podcast after this. But who's a driver you're keeping your eye on in the truck series?
Yeah, so it's funny, Derek, when we were talking right before this, I just pulled it up. We do have some odds for trucks, just came out more recently. Caesars has some odds up. And obviously Heim's like super, super overvalued. Can't avoid that. He's earned that. But somebody that was plus 750 is Nick Sanchez. And looking at some of these comp tracks, now we don't have Dover in the truck series, but this season you throw Vegas out. He's got a third place, a sixth place, and a first place finish at Charlotte more recently. So at 750 plus 750, I think Sanchez is worth a look. He's been, fast, pretty much rolled in his success from last year. It's coming right into this year. He's got a couple wins under his belt. And I think they're gearing up for a long playoff run. So playoffs are coming up quick in the Truck Series. And Sanchez, I think, is somebody to look for this weekend in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Whether it's a matchup or whatever. But I thought, because Heim's dragging everybody all the odds down, it's a decent value for someone not named, Eckes, Heim, even Majeski.
Watch what you say.
I'm glad that you brought him up. So yeah, I think Sanchez is a good name to call out there. Mark, what is your favorite trend right now? And it can be, throughout the season, maybe this week, whatever it is. What's your favorite trend that you kind of spotted heading into the weekend? And like I said, it could be an all-season thing.
Yeah, well, it is an all-season thing, and I don't know if this is exactly what you meant by trend, but I'm going to speak on this later. But it's the fact that while we do have guys that have run up front week in and week out, we've seen guys like win in stretches. Like Byron came out hot, then it was Hamlin, and then it was Larson, and then it was Bell, and Larson kind of always stays away. But we have this ebb and flow of guys that are winning and dominating races, and right now that's Christopher Bell. And I think that continues. This is what NASCAR wanted with this new car. There's no Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick crazy seasons. Even Kyle Larson's back in 21. I mean, we might not ever see that again, especially not in this car. So call it a trend, but it's just the cycle of guys winning races. We see guys that are fast, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks in a row, and then it's like, where'd you go? And then the next guy shows up. So I feel like this year's been fun. A lot of different guys to bet on, and I think the books have actually done a pretty good job of nailing who's going to be at the top 3 or 4. This week's flat out ridiculous, but just wanted to throw my kudos into the books this year.
Glad you threw some kudos their way. There you go. Butter up to them as you take their money. Yeah, I was going to say, as you take their money. Greg, Monday morning headline. We'll read what?
Kyle Larson spanks the field.
Ooh, Kyle Larson spanks the field. I like it. That would be a good headline heading into to Monday. So let's jump into our ride or fade segment. If you are new, this is where the guys share their favorite head-to-heads. What did they find? Searching through various books. What's the favorite matchup? You kind of teased a little something, Phil. I don't know if this is going to be the matchup involving Josh Berry, but I'm going to give you the floor first.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I could talk about Josh Berry. It's super juicy. He's minus 200, but I'm not scared of that one. Yeah, it's Mark money. He's so I guess I'll talk about it. I had another one queued up. Maybe I'll talk about it in the last segment. But Josh Berry minus 200. Look, I understand minus 200. No one likes to play that high of a number in matchups, but he's going up against Chase Briscoe. All right. And minus 200, when you dig into it, it makes sense. We've got starting with Chase Briscoe here. He has the worst average finish in 3 races at this racetrack out of everyone except for one driver. That driver is David Starr, who started 1 race.
Wow.
Okay. His average finish is 32.0. Wild that Chase Briscoe is like that. And his starting position's not bad either. But anyway, it's just wild to me that that's where he's been at this track. Has not figured it out. There are other guys we've seen like 2 races good, 1 race bad. Has not figured it out. So a top 30 would be good for Chase based on track history. You look at Josh Berry, it's kind of apples to oranges. He's got Xfinity starts here. He's got a 5th last year, a 4th in 2021. So apples to oranges there with track history. But we go to this year, looking at the 4 high-speed mile and a halves and Dover. I don't know if Greg and Mark are looking at the same stuff. Like that's what I was digging into this weekend. Briscoe has a 6 at Texas, excuse me. That's an outlier. Throwing that right out. He's got 1 other top 20 other than that. It's 19th at Dover. And again, good starting positions, and he's just not doing anything with them. Berry has a top 10, 3 top 15s, 4 top 20s, 3 straight races that are really solid finishes, 14th, 15th, 10th. And so he's picking up speed. We saw what he was doing last week. Not to say that Briscoe didn't have a good week last week, but Berry, I think, has done well in the lower series, this track.
Yep.
He's done well in these comps this season, and he's 4-1 on these comps head-to-head versus Briscoe so far this season. Chase is on his JGR press junket this week. You think he's in the shot with the boys, trying to focus on a racetrack that he's been terrible? Absolutely fucking not. So minus 200 makes sense. Like I would love to see it like minus 150, but hey, I'll take what I can get. The way I said it on the podcast was I'm going to play it, Thursday in a parlay with a baseball game. If it misses, I'm going to play it again on Friday to get it down. So I have like good odds on that matchup heading into Sunday. And because I really believe in that one. And so hopefully that explains why I took him over Justin Haley as well.
Okay. It does a little bit. What do you think about that, Mark?
I think that the two main points here are the second to worst average finish. Call it the worst because David Starr, give me a break. And on the tour. And I'm also on Josh Berry that I'm going to talk about later. So absolute full-fledged throw it in a parlay to get your odds down.
What about you, Greg?
I mean, if I've got to bet it, I'm going to take the Josh Berry side of that. I don't know that. I mean, that's obviously a lot of juice. But I get it, right? If we go and we look at, just what I'm using for some of this is I'm using the intermediates this year, and I'm including in that Dover and in Bristol, just because they're concrete, and so even though like obviously the track's a little bit different, it's I think it's a relevant thing. They've got actually kind of similar average running positions. But I think Barry just has more upside on it, right? When we get into a little bit of the underlying metrics, Barry's better on the, top 10 laps, better on the top 5 laps, better on top 3 laps, better on laps led, better on fastest laps. I mean, he's better on every single one of those metrics, right? And so, I would take it. I don't know that I'm paying that much juice, but absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to take Barry in that matchup if I'm picking one.
Okay. So you're going to take Barry there. Go ahead, Phil.
And I appreciate those points. Like totally agree with everything there. The one thing that I left out that I just wanted to add is, we talked about the Briscoe side of things and where his head is at, but like we haven't heard anything, right, for Barry and Childress too. Every week is an audition for them. Every week is a chance for them to, shine somewhere and potentially wake somebody's eyes up to a contract. So I think we got to look at that week in and week out. Who are guys in those situations? Does the track match up for that guy to be successful and hit a bet in some way, shape, or form? In this case, yes, it does to me. So it's just another checkbox to check there.
Okay. I like it. And I like some of the conversations happening too on the YouTube and on the X side as well. And if you have any comments or questions or anything, please let us know. We'll get your comments up here. We'll read a few off and we'll let the guys kind of have at it from there. So definitely want to hear what everybody's saying on that end. Mark, I'm going to give you the floor next. What matchup have you found heading into Nashville?
All right. So we are looking at both Nashville races in Dover. Pause. The last 2 Texas races, the last 2 Bristol races, Homestead and Pocono. Now, every week, I don't ask exact questions anymore. This is what we go with. And we're heavily emphasized on the 2 Nashville and Dover. So similar to everybody else, but we've also got a lot more data that we squeaked in there on the bottom. So looking at a lot of track history this week. However, I am going to talk about current form on a couple guys. So Christopher Bell is Mr. Current Form. Take away a couple DNFs, his average running position is absolutely the best in the Cup Series, and I want to bet on the best in the Cup Series. He's also one of the championship betting favorites. I agree with that. You may not agree with that, but I agree with it. So we're going Christopher Bell minus 130 over Ross Chastain, who's been absolutely lights out here track history. So I'm taking a little bit of, my own medicine. I'm going a little bit against Zach here, and it's still available at Bet365 minus 130. And Chris Bell, it's not like Chris Bell's track history is bad here. He's got 3 top 10s in the three times we've been there. And you also take current form and add it to that. That's what I'm betting. Ross Chastain Also, obviously, has a ton of track history here. Top fives with a win in the last 2 races. Actually, sorry, 3 top fives, the 3 trips we've been there. But the difference is current form. So let's look at the numbers, and then I'll let you all decide for yourselves at the end. In the model, Bell is 5th, Chastain 7th. On the 9 comp track races, heavily emphasized with Nashville and Dover, Christopher Bell has an average finish of 5.5. That's first in the Cup Series, and that also includes a DNF, which to have a 5.5 average finish, including a DNF, wild. I understand there's 9 in the sample size. Ross has an average finish of 12.85. NLD average running position, Bell 9.6, Ross 14.01. NLD speed, Bell 6th, Ross 17th. So the only place he's good at is Nashville. Okay, fine. When was he good there? When Trackhouse was also good. Now you bring in all these more recent races, Dover, Texas, Bristol, Homestead, Pocono. I know Homestead was last year. I guess Pocono was too, very minuscule. But Bell is far and beyond what Trackhouse and Ross Chastain is, and I do not expect Ross to be a top 5 car this week. I absolutely expect Christopher Bell to be a top 5 car. And when was the last, Derek, I think you said it. When was the last time Ross Chastain had race-winning speed? I mean, he's 5th at Sonoma, and then before that, it was either Texas. I just had it pulled up. It has been a long time. Maybe once, possibly twice, probably not. 2 times this year he's had race-winning speed. I don't even know if I could count on one hand how many times Christopher Bell, or 2 hands, how many times Christopher Bell has had race-winning speed. So give me track history that's not as good, but very close, and then current form that is just so polar opposites. Give me Christopher Bell minus 130 over Ross.
What was that price again? I missed that.
Minus 130.
Okay, minus 130.
Bet 365.
Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of different comments here in the comments section. Greg, I'm going to throw it over to you. What do you think about that matchup in particular?
I like it. I like it. Because I'm going to have some things to say about Mr. Chastain here in a moment myself. Yeah, you're going to hear me rattle off some similar stuff about why I'm on the other side of one. So yeah, absolutely like it.
You boys went from corn can to no fan. So that's interesting how it can happen that fast. What about you, Phil?
Yeah, I wrote this down. I'm actually trying to figure out how I can get to Jersey, or if my brother-in-law's in Jersey, to bet this for me on Bet 365. I'm going to shop that around. But yeah, good call out. I agree. It's just the track history thing. I'm going to talk about another driver in the next segment in a similar vein. But like sometimes, when you look at tracks, has he been good at certain tracks in the past few years? Yes. Has he been good there this year? No. Like it hasn't corresponded to success like it should. And I'm in agreement with these guys. So hate to fade Ross, but do it there. I like that pick.
No, that's fine. I think that's one of the joys of doing the show, getting everybody's opinion here. Greg, I'm going to throw it over to you, let you close out this ride or fade segment. So where are we headed?
So give me Martin Truex minus 115 over Mr. Chastain. And basically the same things, right? But so when I put together kind of my component of the win the race sim center, like, we got a whole bunch of stuff that goes in there. When I put together my ranks for it, they go into it, right? I've got Truex 4 and I've got Ross down at 12. All right. So I got a huge gap between them. Then I jump into some of the, underlying metrics that go into that. All right. So this is, again, looking at our intermediates and, including the Dover and the Bristol in that. All right. Truex has 73% of his laps in the top 10. Chastain has 34. Truex has an average running position sitting over here at 8.99. Chastain, 13.36. All right. He's running way, way ahead of him. We look at fastest laps. We got 108 for Truex, 37 for Ross. He doesn't have the speed that he's had in the past. And again, it's not, kind of going to the same thing, track history. Yeah, sure. Track history is great for Chastain. Not Not questioning that at all, right? His track history here is great, but Truex track history is not bad. He led 82 laps here in 22. He led 50 laps here last year. He's been good here. His finishes haven't been great. He was second last year, though, with a pair of 22s before that. But like those finishes, those 20 seconds aren't reflective of how he's run this track. So you're giving me 115. Like if we look at the head-to-heads in the Win the Race Sim Center, like that's by far the best value, the most advantageous bet. And so it's the only one that I've taken. And actually I kind of talked myself into it as I was doing the prep for this section. I wasn't quite there before I did that, but I talked myself into it. So
there you go. What about you, Phil? What do you think about what Greg just said?
Yeah, I think we've made the case for, fading Ross in certain ways, and as long as you like the other side, and I would say I'm sold on Truex there. I mean, I one of the things I'm loving right now is like everybody's kind of going off of slightly different skews of the data, and if it's all kind of pointing to the same place, I love that. And I mean, looking at just the stuff that I have, pulling it up here, Truex is better than Ross in the various different metrics that I have in different sets of tracks. So I'm in. I'll follow that. I like the minus 115 number. We went from minus 200 to minus 130.
Yeah.
Now we're minus 115. It's getting more better for the gambler here. So good stuff.
It really is. What do you think, Mark, as we close it out? What do you think there?
I think if you put Truex and Bell in a head-to-head, it would either be minus 110 each side or minus 115 if you want to talk about some Nimrod books, or give the slight 5-cent edge to Bell, in my opinion. So absolutely same argument. Truex has been great this year. He just hadn't gotten a winner. Well, I don't want to say elite, but he's been really good, really good. And Ross has been ass out of 2 out of 18 races, however many we've had. So yeah, count me in.
What about this question? What about Bass Pro? What do you think about this question here from Charles Nelson? He says Wallace at even money versus Kyle Busch minus 130. A big topic we had last week. Any opinions here? Strong opinions?
Yeah.
One way?
No, don't do it.
Don't
Listen, I have a note here because I saw that on Bet365 and Bubba's even money again. Listen, the luck. I'm not saying the speed, but the luck has got to turn around for Kyle. I'm not double dipping. Andy Petrie's gone. Something's going to spark there. And I do not want to be holding my wallet with no cash in it. I was going to say something else.
Okay. I made this just quickly. I made the same thing and I ran it through the Sim Center, right? That because 365 is one of those books. It's a little bit wonky. We can't pull the numbers in directly, but I went and I ran the numbers on it. And it says Busch should be favored. Only 110 on each. Should be minus 110 for Busch, plus 110 for Bubba. You can't get there, right? Like it's just you're asking for trouble.
Yeah. Well, this is why I like doing the show, because we can get listener questions like that. And as we go into the position prop segment now, whenever I find a comment from one of the listeners, I'm going to pull it back up and ask you guys at the end of this. So, Mark, I'm going to let you be the leadoff man when it comes to the position prop segment. Where are we heading? The top 5s, top 3s, top 20s, top 10s?
Man, I wish we had top 20s. Phil's got top 40s with Chase Briscoe, but
that's
yeah,
even money.
I'm going to top 10 market, even money bet, and we're going with Joseph Slogano. So I don't know if a lot of people are going to be on him, but he's like the next guy after the 9 that are at the top. He's the next guy, and it's like this huge gap, like 10 points, $10, this huge gap, and I think Mr. Logano has done enough to warrant enough current form to warrant an even money bet at top 10. So he's 13th in the model, which is not close enough to bet if he was like his normal price. If he was like a minus 150, minus 140, it wouldn't be touching it, but he's even money. The last 2 Nashville races, he has an average running position of 12.2, which is good for 9th best in the Cup Series. He finished 10th here in the inaugural race. That was, if I remember correctly, was a shit show. But current form, he ran well at Gateway. He ran well at Iowa. And he ran well last week in New Hampshire before he fucked it into Chase Elliott. And when I say well, I mean he was 5th to 10th. I mean he's in the top 5, top 10. So his current form, Joey Logano, I've said it week in and week out. Ever since Darlington, Kansas, that little corridor, Ford has found something. They found mechanical grip. Maybe it was a horsepower, but I don't really think it's a horsepower. I really think it's a mechanical grip because they've been really faster at these mechanical grip tracks. And Nashville is 1.3 miles. It's a smaller speedway. It's not like these typical 1.5 miles where you got to keep all this momentum up and smash the gas and as much speed as you possibly can. There's a little grip factor coming in here. So even money on Joey Logano. It's a number that I can't resist at a guy that could be a top 5 car. Now he could go back to his old ways and be fucking 20th, but he's ran well here at Nashville and his current form is good. He doesn't have the finishes at Nashville, but his average run position, his NLD speed, his model ranking, count me in for an even money bet.
Okay, so counting you in there for an even money bet. Greg, what about you? What'd you find for a position prop here this week?
So I got a little bit of a ladder actually, and it's all on Ty Gibbs. I bet against Ty Gibbs at the start of the year. And he's actually cost me a ton of money this year. So this is probably all going to blow up, right? Because every time I turn around and I put money on this
Great
kid,
start.
Bad things happen, right? So let's just get that out of the way up front. But we look over at Fanatics. We got him at plus 110 for a top 10, plus 380 for a top 5, and plus 720 for a top 3. And so I didn't bet it exactly like that because I bet him his top 3 odds when they came out at Superbook at plus 800, and that moved very quickly. And then I got his top 10 at a little bit better number, but like right now, I like that ladder. I like playing like a full unit on him, top 10, a half unit, top 5, and then like a quarter, top 3. You look at where he's been in terms of just his speed, right? He's been really fast on these intermediate tracks, right? He's had a little bit of unfortunate luck getting to the end, but he's been fast. Okay.
Right.
When I look at my portion of our ranks, I've actually got him 3rd overall, right? Just because of how much speed that car has had in it. And again, when you look at his teammates in all those markets, they are so much shorter, right? So it's a value play right there. Sooner or later, the kid is going to kind of put it together and complete a race. And I think those numbers are just way out of line there. And Brian, well, the good news is the top 3 number's gone, my man. Like you don't have to worry about the fact that you're not going to be in Vegas until Friday. We smoked that number. They reviewed my bet for about 4 minutes, and they moved it to plus 500. So,
wow.
But we got some value at some other books, so you don't have to worry about Superbook having smoked all your money.
Okay, so there you go with that. I always like a good ladder, so I appreciate you talking that one through. What about you, Phil? What have you found from a position element?
Yeah, no, I just have to say I'm digging the top 10 for Gibbs, definitely. So I'll go with our favorite, the Caesar Speakeasy driver over under for my finishing position bet.
Yes.
So this is where you can find the drivers to finish over under a certain number. And you guys heard me on the show week in, week out. I usually like to bet on someone to do well. Yeah. And not this week. Because they're throwing some drivers out there that are like different names, and Austin Dillon's out there. And I suspended him on this show months ago. Can't bet him anymore, but what you can do is fade him. And his number is 23.5. I think that's low. And so let's get into it here. This is a driver that I was talking about earlier when we were talking about track history, kind of not working out. This is that guy. And I'm going to get into that in detail, but to start, his track history at Nashville specifically is very good. He's 3 for 3 finishing top 20. So that scares you from taking over 23.5 for sure. But I wanted to dig in, like, how has he been doing this year? So bear with me here. tracks that he did well at last year. Not all of these are comps, but I'm just trying to prove a point. Martinsville, he was 12th. This year, 34th. Kansas, it's a comp track. 10th last year. Typically good at Kansas. 25th this year earlier. Charlotte, 9th last year. 27th this year. Sonoma, 19th is decent for him at Sonoma. That was last year. Dead last this year. Then we got races where he just consistently not good. Dover, Richmond, Darlington, all three of them dog shit so far this year. We even had situations where he was bad last year at Texas, Gateway, and somehow miraculously came out with a decent finish. But of all the things, okay, if you're still with me, we have not seen good last year, good this year. Okay. So he's been good. He's been under 23.5 consistently at Nashville. He has not been able to put those pieces together at a track that he's consistently good at. He's been bad. I mean, we all know this. And I don't know what's going through his mind. Like, is he thinking about retiring or what? That whole camp is just in disarray. You mentioned Andy Petrie in the chat, Mark. I mean, I don't know if that's going to help the full RCR group or what, but just not good overall. And you look at this year, the comp tracks that I'm looking at, the 5 races, he's got 3 straight finishes over 23.5. His green flag speed on average in those tracks is 29th. 4 out of the 5 races, his green flag speed has been well over 23.5 for whatever that's worth. 3 of them are in the 30s. Like, he's just been dog shit slow. So 23.5, like I said, I typically like to bet on guys to go under their number because you're cheering for them and you kind of think something has to go wrong for him to go over. I don't think so. I think they could show up, run their race, and still not get to 23.5. So we're going, over 23.5 for Austin Dillon this week on Caesars, minus 115.
Okay, so Austin Dillon makes a little bit of an appearance here on the show, and Phil, I always enjoy. Well, I always appreciate how you go through some of those elements of the position props. I think those are very popular for sure. So let's move into the outright market now, and Greg, I'm actually going to let you kick this one off. I know the outright market's not been, giving in many ways. So. What have you found for us from a, maybe a value standpoint?
Well, to say that the market has not been giving is, man, it's like the understatement of it. And honestly, I don't have anything that I like at all at this point. I think if you want to kind of look at some stuff, see where we've said there's a little bit of value just in terms of the, the win the race, Sim Center, Denny Hamlin, you could say is, potential. You're getting value as compared to, say, Kyle Larson in that market. So, look at where he is at FanDuel. I think Denny's still sitting around plus 650. And he's the number 2 in, my sim, and he's the number 2 by a decent margin. But, he's got a ton of speed at these intermediate tracks. Toyota across the board has. He's got some, reasonable ability to put things together, and he's been running really well this year. So yeah, he's had a couple of down races the past couple of weeks. If this is a time to see a bounce back, I literally, like when we were talking earlier this week in the Discord, myself and some of the other partners over at Win the Race, like my first kind of message this week was Denny bounce back week, Denny redemption. So if I'm going to have to, it's going to be Denny. Like I said, you get around plus 650 over at FanDuel, but I've not bet anything yet. I'm going to wait on any outrights. I want to see what we look like in practice. But Denny's had a lot, again, another guy who's led a lot of laps here. So, I think he's got the potential. It's just a question of, if you want to kind of pay that much.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the honesty with that as well. And I know that is, something that is talked about a lot this week. We're just kind of holding back. What about you, Phil? Maybe you found something that you want to share with the listening audience.
Well, so Denny was going to be the guy I was talking about. So props to Greg for calling that out. The other way I'll play this here is the easy way out. I'll go with my manufacturer pick this week because that's kind of how I've been laying my card together, is starting with that and then taking guys who can beat me, like Denny. This week I'm going with Chevy. They're plus 135 on DraftKings. On other books, they're shorter than that, so I like that. I don't know what the value is compared to the other manufacturers, but for Chevy, I'm throwing multiple units down on this, and then on race day, I'll add some outrights to the card outside of Hamlin. So talking about this here, they have not lost at this racetrack. I mean, this manufacturer has figured out this track, I guess you could say, 3 for 3 in a short time span. Last year, they swept all 3 races, trucks, Xfinity, Cup. And the other thing about the reason why I like this bet, the epitome of the manufacturer bet to me, the way I like to play it is when you can't figure out who the big dog's going to be from that camp. And in 3 races at Nashville, 3 of the top 5 finishers were Chevys. So they got a lot of bullets to fire, and it could be anybody, right? One of them, Kyle Larson, obviously is the favorite to win the whole thing, 4-1, some books. So plus 135 to get Larson and his cronies, not too shabby. But if you're looking at the, stats that I have here, Nashville, they're 5 of the top 10 average finish, 4 of the top 10 driver rating. I mean, they got the top 2 guys in both of those stats with Chastain and Larson. And then this year, average finish is Elliott and Larson. Larson, best driver rating. I mean, these guys are all over the place, and it makes it tough to kind of make a case to take Toyota as a manufacturer pick because there's less dogs in that camp anyway. And then you got to cut it down, cut the fat from there. So I like Chevy to kind of start the card, multiple units on plus 135, and then kind of add around that because there's a lot of guys from the Chevy camp, Elliott, Byron, even Bowman I like in a matchup, guys that could surprise you. I mean, maybe Chastain does do what we're saying he's not going to do. You know what I mean? Like they've got a lot of guys in their camp that could maybe jump up.
Yeah, well, I like the Chevy comment there. And the last time a Chevy won on an oval, do you know who it was and where?
This year?
Yeah, this year. You have to go all the way
Elliott?
back to Kansas where Kyle Larson won. So we've seen a couple oval races since then. Yeah, how about that? Where we've seen Darlington was Keselowski. You had Bell winning at Charlotte. You had Cindric at Iowa. Last
Blaney
week, obviously,
Gateway.
Bell again. Blaney, not Gateway. Cindric at Gateway.
Oh, yeah.
And so very interesting. Kind of stat there, but this could be Chevy's playground, like you were saying there, Phil. What about you, Mark? What have you found from the outright standpoint, if anything?
I have 4 notes. I'm not throwing shit at the wall and hoping for the best. I've lost too much money the last month to do dumb shit. I like Logano at 20. I like RFK at 14.
Okay, there we go.
Listen,
those are great notes.
I had no notes until about 30 minutes before this show, and I'm like, I got to come up with something. But I don't have a bet. I don't have an outright bet. Greg said it. The books say that no one past 10-1 has a chance to win, which is garbage, and that's ridiculous. And I say I like Logano, but I'm not throwing shit at the wall. I like the RFK boys. I might bet them at 14, like RFK to team of race winner. I might bet that. I just haven't made my mind up, and when I'm waffling on bets, I usually stay away. So, yeah, this may be the first time in a long time that I've stayed away from betting an outright pre-practice qualifying. So, I'm out. But I do have a best bet for you.
Well, guess what? We're going to be entering that bit of conversation right now. So let's move over to our best bets and best values. And, Mark, since you didn't take too much airtime there, I'm actually going to let you lead this one off. What is the best bet that you have on the board right now?
All right, we're going to the groups. You guys ready for a group bet? Because it's a matchup.
I suck at groups, so I like.
I suck at groups too. But last one bet, 1-0. So I don't know what to tell you. Trends, maybe. This is
follow the patterns.
This is a page out of Phil's book, and we're gonna take a group and turn it into a matchup. So it's Group 5 on Hard Rock.
Okay.
And Big Ross, I agree. I think Brad top 5 is a good bet. So
Group 5
on Hard Rock. The names read in odds order: Josh Berry, Corey Heim, Daniel Suarez, Noah Gragson. Tells you what they think about the latter three. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Josh Berry is plus 250. Heim is plus 260. So is Suarez. And Gragson is plus 275. So, Corey Heim, congrats on your cup ride, brother. Daniel Suarez, congrats on your citizenship. But respectfully, see your way to the fucking door. Okay. Josh Berry is matched up with Noah Gragson plus 250. Okay. This is like, I understand that Noah Gragson's had some decent runs. Stuart Haas all started out shitty and then they've progressively gotten better. But Josh Berry is the one that seems, and Rodney Childers has seemed to be the one that has made it last. And he's been pretty daggum good. So 5 top 10s in the last 7 races. The 2 that he didn't finish top 10, he DNF'd. Suarez in the last 10 races, 1 singular top 10. Dog shit. I just wanted to shit on Suarez. I already told you that I threw him out, but I really wanted to throw that stat in there. Gragson, he does have a slight argument. I would say he's anywhere between 2 to 5 spots worse than what Berry is, depending on what stat you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
But 2 to 5 spots at plus 250, sign me up. And once again, I don't like betting teammates, but when you're going to slap odds in my face like this, and you're going to put Corey Heim and Daniel Suarez in a group, that's laughable. So give me fuck you, Roy, and give me a Josh Berry plus 250 Group 5 Hard Rock Sportsbook.
Okay, so you're going Hard Rock there with a group bet. Greg, I'm going to throw it over to you. Best bet, what have you found this week?
Well, Phil stole it with Austin Dillon over 22. It's actually 22 and a half.
Go, Phil.
22 and a half now?
22 and a half.
Damn,
who's
Phil.
betting that
again.
down, dude?
I don't know.
Who's betting on that?
I was just telling you, it's 22 and a half right now. And we have fair on that at minus 177.
Wow.
That is an absolute smash of a bet. So you stole that. So I'll say I'll go with that. The best bet after that is to not bet until after practice, right?
I like that.
We just don't know. We don't know. We keep seeing kind of people pop every week. You know, it's here, there, it's otherwise. I'm sick of throwing away money at the start of the week and getting to the end of the week and going, damn, what was I thinking? I'm sold on Gibbs early. So I did go ahead and bet that, and Austin Dillon, like how the fact that he's still in a car, that tells you all you need to know about RCR not being serious right now. Okay. That's all you need to know. RCR is not serious because he's still logging laps with them right now. But otherwise, let's wait until after practice. Let's see some practice. And then when books reopen, see if we got some value that we can find.
I like it. Awesome. Well, that's good information there, Greg. What about you, Phil? Pat yourself on the back with Greg having that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's always a good thing when Greg and Ryan are on your side. That's a good thing. And I cannot believe that number was originally 23 when I wrote it, and someone made a big enough bet on that to be under that it moved it. So props to that person. Thank you.
So you're moving lines backwards.
Phil? Shit, we're going the other way.
All right. So this is a tough segment. I mean, I'll just kind of throw some conversations out there. We already talked about Hamlin tonight. Greg mentioned him for an outright. That's who he stole my outright. So I'll throw Hamlin plus 105 for a top 5. You know, if you want to lower the bar a little bit, I think Hamlin, for all the reasons that Greg threw out there. I mean, 3 straight top 5s this season on these comp tracks. He won Dover. It's a good comp. You throw out the 30th at Texas. He's checking all the boxes, and Nashville, he has a pole, so he has the ability to start well. He's got a top 5 in 3 starts, second in driver rating at this track. Like he's got a plus 105 in a week on a Wednesday where it's tough to find solid value. It's really slim pickings. I think Denny Hamlin is somebody you want to have on your card in some way, shape, or form. So lower the bar a little bit, make it easier for yourself, top 5. And then just based off the chat here, I mean, I was looking at top Ford, kind of throwing Blaney out. who's the favorite in that. And I was looking at Logano because Mark had mentioned him for a top 10, but then my attention is drawn to Keselowski at plus 550 for the top Ford. That seems pretty decent for someone who he's not been good at Nashville. So you have to, suspend disbelief, I guess is one way to put it. Like, that's not going to be something you care about. But this season, he's been pretty decent on the comp tracks that I've been looking at, a couple second place finishes. So, plus 550 to be the top Ford, smaller group, and longer odds there for him. So it's just something I was thinking about and looking up as we were talking here before we got to this point. So more of a lean or a conversation here. You're muted, Derek.
Rookie.
It's always that one. Somebody had to be it. What do you guys think? Anything regarding what Phil said?
Yeah, I got a question. Why don't you just leave your mic unmuted like a man?
So here's the deal. So played golf today, and now allergies are starting.
What the fuck does golf have to do with anything, Kyle Petty?
Because hold on, now, Kyle Petty. I had allergies today, so now I'm starting to blow my nose a little bit, and so I don't want anybody to hear that, so I'm muting myself. So I look like crap. I feel like crap now, but I shot a 78. Go ahead. What did you think about what
no big deal.
My handicap's come down 2 points. Anyway, yeah, I'm on Hamlin. I'm not on Hamlin. I like Hamlin. Shout out Mike. We're going to talk about this on Lay and Coin, but Hamlin top 5 at even money. I like to play some games, right? Every week. Play a little parlay, Truck Cup, Xfinity. So yeah. I think Hamlin top 5 even money is a great bet to throw in a couple parlays this week. Pre-practice or pre-flop, as the boys want to call it. Yep. Not crazy about Hamlin, especially to a place that his current form is kind of dog ass, and a place we haven't been to a ton of times. So I'd love to slam Hamlin top 5 right now, but we're gonna save those for the parlays.
Okay, Greg, anything else there at all? Anything you want to conclude with?
I got nothing to add on that. I've said my piece on him. I like it.
Okay. Phil, how about you kick us off? I really appreciate all the conversations here tonight. And how can everybody best support you? Like we talked about, your show just dropped not too long ago. We're going to try to rip here a little bit for some truck stuff. But how can everybody best support you?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. This was really fun. As always, Greg, appreciate you jumping on too. This is always a good time when you jump on with us. And Full Tank with Phil's name of the podcast. You can give that a listen and, chop it up with me on Twitter and Instagram at Full Tank Phil. And yeah, we'll be trying to record some trucks in just a bit here. And we'll say it's looking more and more likely that I'll be up at Pocono in a couple weeks. If anybody here hears that. And wants to try to sync up at some point that weekend, let me know. Definitely, can't say definite yet, but targeting the truck race for sure. Going to be over there on Saturday, maybe Sunday as well. So we'll let me know if you're going to be up there.
I like it. What about you, Mark? How can everybody support you?
Yeah, it's Skybox NASCAR, brother. Land Coin podcast on Spotify, and shout out Presley Sora. He's been racing ARCA recently. Yeah. Go give him a follow at Presley Sora AH at the end of that. Land Coin will be out tomorrow. Actually, it'll be out tonight, but technically tomorrow morning, probably about midnight tonight. And we have some shenanigans going on tonight, so don't want to miss it. Appreciate you, Derek. Thanks, Greg.
Greg, what about you? Thanks for filling in for Ryan. How can everybody best support you and follow along with what you got going on each and every week?
Yeah, so always fun to jump on when Ryan's got to go get to spend some time with his kids and family. But yeah, wintherace.info. We got DFS stuff, we got betting stuff, whole bunch of what I talked about today. We pulled out of the Sim Center that we got over there. So great stuff there, and then. Give a follow on Twitter, gmathern84.
I like it. Well, I appreciate it, Greg, and I appreciate it, boys, for coming on and joining as always each and every week. And thank you guys listening and all the comments here, whether you're listening on X, YouTube, like Seth here says of In Between Media. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. It helps support the channel and everything that they're doing. I'm going to be in Nashville this week. I fly out tomorrow, so if you're in town, let me know. I'd love to say hello if you're going to be at the track. And, looking forward to having a great weekend of racing. Hopefully there's no weather issues and we're good to go. Boys, have a great weekend. We'll see you next week as the series heads back to Chicago.